Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy SoSo, and welcome back to the channel. Make sure you're hitting that like, comment, and subscribe button, and more importantly, turn on those notifications. That way you guys get notified when we drop hits like this. On this episode, the Hurricanes are in the semifinals of the college football playoffs, and nobody expected that. The Heat are still going through some tough times, figuring their way throughout the East, and the Panthers are finding their groove again. It's time to take a ride, y'all. Let's go! Cuzzle, first of all, it's good to see you, especially since the Hurricanes have been winning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
First episode of
Facts.
2026.
Happy New Year to everybody out there in SoSo land. Dog, the Hurricanes are them. They're not him. They are them.
Them, they, them.
They are them.
They're they, them.
They are them.
double
boys,
down
dog.
on the them.
They are them boys, dog.
Yeah, it's been fun to see this little run so
What
far.
a run!
It's not
dog.
over yet.
It's not.
We're in the
far
thick of
from
it.
over. Far from over.
But man,
far
it's
from over.
been an exciting. I mean, having that New Year's Eve game was pretty dope.
It was crazy to have that game New Year's Eve, right? Because usually people are like sleeping, getting ready. Like a 7:30 game, like usually not catching that, right? But también we haven't been in the college football playoffs, so we haven't had the opportunity. But when that opportunity came to kick off the playoffs, bro, and be the main game that night, dog, everybody was up for it. Everybody was paying attention. TVs were packed. Obviously, bars were packed. Restaurants were packed. People were watching on their phones, tablets, all over the place. I'm on the West Coast going crazy. You know what I mean?
I was at a restaurant, had it on my phone.
Yeah, dude. You know what I mean? And it was like one of those instances where you just wanted to watch this game and see how it turned out. And they end up winning that game 10-3, and it was a grind.
Wait, what game?
The first game.
Are we talking about the New Year's game?
Yeah. Yeah, bro.
New Year's Eve?
Yes.
We won what was our score? It wasn't 10-3.
Yes, it was, bro. We beat Texas A&M 10-3.
Oh, I'm talking about the New Year's Eve game.
Oh, my fault.
That's why.
Because we recorded the December 20th preview
For A&M.
for A&M.
And we never talked about that.
But we never talked about
Oh,
it.
that was a hell of a game.
10-3. That was a big win.
Yeah, that was huge. The atmosphere was crazy, bro.
And we talked about
And we
it.
won it on the last play of the game, basically.
Yes, and one of the things that we talked about in that episode, which was just Hurricane centric, right, for that game, was that the Hurricanes had to take the crowd out of it.
Yeah.
And they did that, right? Like first half, Texas A&M couldn't get shit going. We scored. Like we were already like quote unquote taking the momentum out of there. Then the defense just turned up, and we literally siphoned the sound, walk away with a 10-3 victory against a tough opponent on the road, right?
Like never easy to play there.
Never,
at
dog.
Caulfield.
Never. And then the New Year's Eve game, right? You're facing the number 2 team in the fucking country in Ohio State, loaded with NFL talent, because there are at least 5 guys there that are going to get drafted.
And historically our arch nemesis.
Complete arch nemesis. We have a ton of stuff on the line, right? We're facing homegrown talent that could have been in Miami.
Yeah.
Right? And he still balled out. But the way that we won that game is what mattered the most, right? Yeah, you go out there and you get ahead and you really take the momentum against a team that hasn't played in 15 days. You guys were the sharper team. You go out there and you establish that. Establish the running game, establish the dominance on defense, sacking the quarterback, getting all up in their face. Perfect. Then the second half came around. Ohio State is too good of a team to not punch you back. And they did. They put that game 14-14. They tied it up. And the Canes had to kick a field goal to go up 3. And people were questioning whether or not Cristobal should go for it on that 4th and short. It was like 4th and half a yard and a half, something like that. They called it 4th and 2. And a lot of people wanted Mario to go for it. And I was like, I think he's doing the right thing.
Yeah, take the points.
You take the points against a equally as good as opponent as you are, if not better. You take the points. Your defense is playing awesome. You let them take care of it.
Absolutely.
And it worked out to a T, because the defense came back out, got a quick 3 and out, got the ball back, and next thing you know, we got the ball back in the 4th quarter, up 3, right, on our own 30, with 5 minutes left in the game, 5 minutes and 50 seconds to be exact. Yeah. And we put together a 5-minute drive.
Beautiful. It was a
with a touchdown. by Jamar Brown.
A little bit of everything on that drive too. You know, running, passing, back running the ball.
Boom, Beck running the ball, Fletcher running the ball, Brown running the ball. That's the way that we really moved the sticks. And in crucial downs throughout that game, we saw Beck take off a couple of times.
You talk about the one where he trucked that guy and rolled over him to get the first.
Him over,
it was 3rd and 10, I think. I want to say.
Come on, my dude. And
I was impressed. I was like, damn, Beck, I didn't know you had that.
And they didn't give it to him. And he was, after that, early in the first quarter, he was like, oh, that's it. I'm taking off and I'm killing anybody who gets in my way. And that guy was trucking dudes left and right for first downs in the second half. And all of them were critical. What Mark Fletcher did that day was critical. Jamar Brown, critical. These dudes played awesome. And we're talking about these dudes, but the real fucking stars of that game was the offensive line. Because Beck only got sacked, I think, once in the game. Double check for me if he got sacked once. You know, this is an offensive line that's barely given up sacks in these last two games that we've seen them. And they're giving up just one sack to the number 2 team in the nation with a bunch of defensive players that are going to be drafted. They have 4 defensive players that are going to be drafted, including 2 linebackers that were all up in Beck's face. And they really couldn't even get to him. Just showed a bunch of resiliency, bro, and a bunch of heart. To put a drive together like that, 5 minutes, kill the clock, getting first downs, on the road, not the favorite, and go out there and dominate a number 2's team in the country, dominate them on defense, yeah, that was awesome. And even the way we ended that game with an interception, like, that's the way that you do it. You know what I mean?
I think they got to him. I think the D-line got to him, and it was like
yeah, they hit him, and he threw it, and then the rookie made a big play there.
Yeah. I'm still looking for the sacks here.
Even Keontae Smith's pick 6, dog. How crazy was that? You know what I mean? In the first half, I think that was like one of those things that showed you how prepared Mario had this team to play. You know what I mean? Like the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator. They had these dudes hyped.
Twice. He got sacked twice.
They got sacked twice. Okay, cool. They had the defense primed, and they had everybody on offense ready to play, dog. Like this team was showing a ton of heart, a ton of like real fucking fight, a ton of grit. And it was really refreshing to see, because we're winning the game and it's exciting and all that stuff. But what we're seeing on the field and how we're winning the game is what gives us the belief that heading into this matchup in the semifinals against Ole Miss, bro, we can win this game.
Absolutely.
And it's not a crazy thing to think that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe against Texas A&M, you'll be like, oh, you guys aren't going to win. Go on the road. This Hurricanes team haven't done shit. And then they go out there and won a tough fucking game 10-3. And then it's like, all right, well, you're not going to get past Ohio State, you know? Like, number 2 team, they got probably the best players out there. And we go out there and we fucking dominate them.
The Hurricanes have proved more in the last 2 games than they did the whole regular season.
Facts.
I mean, anybody that wasn't aware of the program is on notice.
Yep.
Especially who we just took down, how we did it, how we went about it.
Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't the ass whooping that Indiana gave Alabama.
Right.
It wasn't the ass whooping that Texas Tech that got.
Correct.
But these are 2 teams that potentially could have been champions this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And we took them out. I'm confident. I like this team. I like the way that they're playing right now. I like the way that Cristobal's coaching them. I think he has their buy-in. I think everybody believes. When you get tapped on the shoulder, I better believe you're gonna get tapped on the shoulder. You got to rise to the occasion. And even like in going back to that A&M game, it was Malachi that had the fumble that almost cost us the game, but then they didn't give up on him. They said, no, you're going to make the play to redeem yourself and win us the game. And he had the game-winning touchdown, the walk-off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it shows the belief that they have in their unit. Even when they have mistakes, they're going to pick each other up. And I'm excited to see what we do against Ole Miss, bro. It's going to be fireworks Thursday night, right?
Thursday night, 7:30, ESPN, ABC. Yeah, bro, it's going to be amazing. Amazing. And you mentioned it. A lot of that credit has to go to Mario. Has to go to Mario. I was extremely critical of Mario, right? Even in the last season and a half, right, where it's like, fuck, bro, you got us like real close, and we haven't been able to get that hurdle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we always held them to that high pedigree, right? Being a former Cane. this is the year where I think that he's doubted, like he shut up all the doubters, all the naysayers, anybody who ever had anything to say about him and how he's building the program, the work that he's been putting in.
He shut me up.
He shut me up, shut you up, shut a lot of the people down here, a lot of the fans that wanted him out. And he's done it by being himself, staying classy, saying the right things, being tough, believing in the kids, motivating the kids to motivate each other, right? You talk about a guy like Ruben Bain. Yeah, he has a ton to play for. He has a ton to get, right? We know he's going to do well. He's going to get drafted and all this stuff. But this is a dude who came back to a struggling program because Mario told him, when you're ready, you're going to lead this team. And look, he's doing it. And he's not doing it by doing a lot of talking and a lot of yah. And on the contrary, he's just working his ass off. And there's
football.
10 to 20 guys that you can point out easily on that team that are doing that. You mentioned a big point in that Texas A&M game when Malachi fumbled. How many people came up to him on the sideline and were like, hey, you got this.
Yeah.
20 guys. Some of them were offensive players, some of them were coaches, some were defensive players. Like, hey, coach, you got this. And he's like, yeah, they're like, oh, pick your head up.
He was crying, bro. The kid was crying on TV.
Pick your head up. Fletcher, too, in this past game against Ohio State. Fumbled. Lost a fumble. Right. As we were driving, we were damn near in the red zone. And he fumbled the ball. No biggie. Next drive, gets the ball and scores a touchdown. Bam! On a catch. And he's like, oh, what? You guys thought I was going to let this affect me? Now with these dudes behind me. Now with my coach behind me. You get what I'm saying? That's a different level of Hurricanes football that we've experienced. We've been used to the star experience. What we're witnessing now is the team experience. You know what I mean? There are stars on this team. No doubt about that.
Right.
But this is a fucking team. And this is a real team that's fighting together. And that's why they've been able to do the things that they've been able to do as quote-unquote underdogs. And now they're going into Thursday as another underdog because Ole Miss is ranked as number 6 and the Hurricanes are still ranked.
Love it. Ride the wave, boys. Take advantage.
Go check out my Instagram. Go see that wide receiver from Ole Miss talking about, his team is going to have time to throw and find pockets and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
You don't think that shit's going to motivate the Hurricanes? You fucked up, my boy.
You don't think the Hurricanes got all the motivation they need when they see Michael Irvin on the sideline pulling out his belt and whipping a trash can?
Ooh. Brother, I'm glad you mentioned that. This is a perfect way to end the segment on the Hurricanes. Before, that was an issue, right? Players coming back, depending on the coach, alumni, whatever. Now, the people are that we want to be back on the sidelines, right, are there. And they're the right people because those are people who really care about the program, really care about the kids doing well, really care about things working successfully for the team, right? You got guys like Ray Lewis.
Yep.
Guys has so much businesses, so much money, so much going on in his life, charities, foundations. This is a busy man, Ray Lewis. That dude was out there. This dude was out there on the sideline, dressed to the fucking T, right? Next to a logo, Michael Irvin, I ain't going crazy. And here's Ray Lewis. You got Ed Reed walking around, talking to players. You got Jimmy Johnson talking to guys. Hey, coach. They wouldn't do that if they didn't believe on what was happening on that team.
Yeah.
What's in the sideline, what's in the locker room, how the dudes are playing, how they pick each other up, how they got each other's back. These dudes would not be there because, again, they have more pressing things to do in their life, right, than to be on the sideline of a team that's playing like shit or, doing all the wrong things. And it's the complete opposite. And that's why I think, we haven't seen this as Hurricanes fans, and it's so refreshing. Big Bermudez, man, gave us the live. I love that guy, dog.
From the middle of the field.
That's my dog right there for life, my brother. From the middle of the field, before that game kicked off. And he mentioned something, that really stuck out on Twitter. He was like, if and when this team makes it to a national title game, this will be the most complete team in Hurricanes history that makes a national title game. where the offense is just as good as the defense. The best player on offense is just as good as the best player on defense. And there's not a lack of depth anywhere on this team.
Bold statement.
Bold statement. But it's true, right? And even if the season ends on Thursday, which I know it won't, right? You still look back at this team and be like, damn, this is probably one of the best 10, 11, 12 win teams that we've ever seen as in the Hurricanes season. Like, it's going to be in there in the top 5. To go from being ranked as high, dropping down, fighting back to it, and slapping everybody up on our way to a semifinal in the college football playoff that nobody wanted you in.
Yep.
And now you're in it, and they hate it. Yeah, you're back to Hurricanes football.
Yeah.
When people are hating on the success of the program, that's
100%.
when you know we're back, baby.
100%. You know we never get any love.
No, I don't want it. I don't want it.
So,
but at least we're back. We can, as Hurricanes fans, we can say we're back. The hating is deserved. They're not hating just to hate. They're hating because we're winning. They hate us because they ain't us.
They hate us because they ain't us.
Go Kings. Your boy SoSo is going to be live on Thursday. Location to be determined, but I'm going to be out there with my boy Steve from Empire, and we're going to be watching the game. So make sure to tune into the Instagram for more information on that. Hopefully we can drag this guy out for a good time. Sports with SoSo. Go Canes on Thursday. Make sure you tune in. Let's talk about the Heat, right?
Miami Heat.
The Miami Heat. I don't think there's another Heat.
Well, I was just wanting to make sure.
Oh, okay. Fair.
They haven't really been doing too much to call my attention lately.
No. And I think that we kind of expected this, right? They got off to a good start.
Did we expect this?
Yeah, because remember, as far as I'm concerned, right? I came into this Heat season with the realistic expectation of not expecting a lot. Right?
As expected.
That's as expected, right? Because there were just too many questions, right? How was he going to come back? We knew that he was going to be injured coming back to start the season. Bam had a busy summer. We're getting Powell in. How does he fit in? What type of mental shape is a guy like Wiggins in, right? Who's playing point guard? Who's coming off the bench? What's up with Jaquez? And the season started off awesome because a lot of those things, you know, had positive checks next to it. But then the season got a little bit tough. A couple of tough losses. Hero comes back. The chemistry isn't there. And it was just really hard for these guys to find some footing. And they went from like a 3rd, 4th seed, and they've dropped as far down to as a 7th, 8th seed, which is not that bad considering that they're only a game and a half behind said 4th seed.
Well, that's where we want to be for the play-in tournament, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
That's right where we want to be. That's our sweet spot for the last few years.
Fucking A. You know, but all in all, they are above 500, right? Past 2 seasons, we struggled with that shit. We have seen the continued emergence of Norman Powell, right? Where he's putting in performance after performance after performance, being a leader, being a guy that we can depend on as far as scoring. Sometimes Hero has it, sometimes he doesn't. More often than not, Powell is picking up the slack, right? Even for guys like Jaquez, Bam, you know, a bunch of other guys. I think that this Heat team finds itself in a weird position, almost like mid-gear shift, right? Where they're like, they don't know if they should kick it into 4th or drop it down into 3rd. Because on one hand, yeah, there is some talent on this team. On the other hand, it's nowhere near enough, right?
Because that's been a problem for the last few seasons.
Especially this season, because this is where it's most adamant. Go look at the top 4 teams in the East. They're not going to be the top 4 teams that we're used to seeing up there, right? And a lot of that has to do with who's playing well, the young guys that, you know, came into the league maybe 4 or 5 years ago, 3 years ago, starting to mature, figure out the league, how to score, how to become more efficient. You look like at a team like Detroit and Kate Cunningham. That kid is a baller. You know, you can see him being a future star. There's no, wild thing to see why Detroit's playing well this season because they're playing off the strength of this kid, right? But when you see the Heat, it's like, yeah, we do things good, and we have a guy who plays awesome-ish, right? But we don't have that young guy where we're like, this is a bona fide star, right? Because even the Khalil Ware, who's as close to that we have, right? He's still rough around the edges, and he's learning, bro, at a tremendous pace. He's learned so much from last year to this year. You could see it in his consistency. He's constantly going after double doubles, getting blocks, getting better at his shooting percentage, hitting more threes. You see his evolution daily, game to game, game to game. He's getting better. Awesome. But it's not a position where we're like, well, we're just going to feed him all the time and let him go ham, right?
Right. Yeah, well, he's not there yet.
He's not there yet.
I don't even think he's designed to be there
No,
necessarily.
no. And I think that's where the struggles come.
I think what we need, bro, and all
Straight up,
we need a trade, bro. Like a mid-season trade right now, like something being cooked up that nobody knows about, where it's gonna shake shit up. We're gonna lose a hero or a Bam or something like that, but in return, we're gonna get some shit that actually, reignites the franchise.
Yeah, but then like you think about it too, and it's like, who do we go after, right? We saw a couple of the rumors between like Kawhi and fucking
John Morant. There's one
you know
more.
what I mean? Trae Young. A couple of things, but like we talked about previously, in previous Heat seasons, none of those moves really jump out to us to be like, yo, this is a huge thing, right? Or this is a game changer for sure, So if it's not as guaranteed, why pull the trigger right now, right? Also, what type of value are we getting back for the guys that we would be trading? The Hero, the Bam, you know what I mean? Like the Wiggins. I don't know if it would be enough. And that's why I say that he finds himself in a tough position. Because, yeah, theoretically, you're within reach of competing, right, for something as important as a top four. But you're also not good enough as a team to be that consistent to solidify that spot. So I don't know if there is a move to be traded. To be had. Could be wrong, but I don't think that there's a move to be had. Tough.
So we got to work with what we got, which means Coach Spo's got a lot of work to do, man.
He's got a lot of work to do, dog, and he's got to keep us above water. You know what I mean? Right now, the Heat, what are they? They are 20-16, currently in 7, 6.5 games behind first place. But like I said earlier in the segment, they're 1.5 games behind that third and fourth spot. The other issue for the Heat, they've won 5 out of the last 6 games. That's awesome, averaging over 105 points in those victories. Some 140-point games, a couple of 120-point games. The issue is that the schedule gets tougher right now. These guys are going to be on the road for a minute. And it's not even a minute. It's just the type of games that you're playing. You're playing a lot of teams that are in contention for a top 4 spot, right? And they have a better team than you. So it's almost like a double-edged sword, right? Those losses mean double. Those wins mean double. And I don't know if the Heat are good enough right now, bro. I just don't know if they're good enough right now. Yeah,
I don't
bro.
think so, man. I don't know.
Bro,
Hopefully
we're going
they
to
prove us
listen to
wrong.
this, bro. We're going to Minnesota, Chicago, Indianapolis, and OKC.
Oh, okay. That's not. I thought it was a West Coast road trip.
And by
Actually-
the way, that Pacers OKC is back-to-back, Saturday, Sunday.
Those are tough. Those might be 2 back-to-back L's.
On the road.
But Chicago, we can take Chicago.
But we've played Chicago tough here at home recently in the last 2 weeks, dog.
Yeah, we can take Chicago.
We can take them, but it's gonna take a good game from our guys. Yeah, can Normal Powell do it? Yes, but I don't know if he can do it all season long, and I don't know if we got enough to pull a trade right now.
Damn.
Well, let's see how it works out. If you
That's why I say, like, I don't
if you
know
and I listen, bro, let's be honest. The over-under for this Heat team, I think, was 36.5, 38 wins, right? This point in the season, way before the halfway point, right? We're at 20 wins already. I'll take it because
We're ahead of schedule.
we're ahead of schedule. Last year, we were barely at 500. The year before that, we were below 500.
Right.
Fuck that. 20 wins versus 16 losses, I'm going to take it.
It is still close, like you said. Excuse me. 1.5 games behind from the 4th spot.
Yeah.
And we're in 7, so it's still relatively close.
Yeah.
But we gotta do something, man. We gotta do something different, because even if we do make it, like, do we have enough to go deep and contend against these guys, man? Those OKCs,
Yeah.
the Pacers, like 7-game series, like, can we?
I don't know. I'll end the segment on this. Zach Lowe has a really good podcast. Obviously he's an insider, has a lot of information, and he himself said that the Heat are being talked about within those circles, back room, alleyways type shit. where the Heat are being involved in big trade talks. It's hard for me to see, right? So I'm gonna trust in him. But if he's saying that there's big moves to be had, it just leads me to wonder what it could be and how soon it happens. You know what I mean? So let's see. We're in January. All-Star break is, second week of February, which is right there. It's 3.5 weeks away. So a lot of moves, a lot of things to shake out. Let's see how they get through this road trip. If they can even it out, like 2-2, that'd be solid.
That's always ideal for a road trip.
Right? Always, especially a hard one like that. Speaking about hard road trips, I don't think it's funny. You talk about one-upping. I think the Panthers have one-upped the Heat on not only championships, like being a championship contender, but also like having a tougher schedule. These dudes are going on the road for 6 straight games. Oof. Coming back home for 1 game against San Jose, and then going on the road again for 3 more.
Damn, who makes the schedule, bro? Jeez, that's brutal.
Brutal, bro. But it comes at a point where the Panthers they're hanging around, right? They're hanging around. They're not necessarily leading the division. I think they're only like 6 points behind the division, which is like right there, not too crazy. 2 points behind the wild card spot, which is right where you got to be, right? Because we knew that there was going to be a lot of fatigue on this team, right, from the championship runs and stuff like that, going deep into playoffs, obviously. And we also suffered some big injuries early in the season from the fatigue of that championship run. But both of those guys are skating. There was good news this week.
Barkov and Kachuk.
Barkov is skating, by himself. He's not skating with the team, but he's skating, and he has a brace on, right? But that's awesome. A human like him, as tough as he is, pretty sure he's going to be healthy enough to skate with the team in the next month or so, right? That leads another 2 months realistically to get into shape to make a playoff run. Same thing with Matthew Kachuk. He's back on the ice. He practiced with the team. He's wearing a non-contact jersey. You know what I mean? Can't touch him, can't hit him, whatever. But fuck it, he's out there. He's skating. He's moving around. He's building up that strength, that memory, getting that muscle memory back. And it's also a boost to the rest of the guys to be like, oh shit, we weathered the storm. What's our record? Huh? We're this far? Damn, we're not even that bad. All right, fuck it, let's go, right? And they turn it up for the second half of the season. And
we need it because if that Winter Classic game last week was any indication, it was not good, man. It was not great. We looked like we were missing a couple pieces there.
Yeah, that was embarrassing.
Pieces. That was a tough loss, and not to mention, I don't know whose decision it was to put the Winter Classic here in Miami at the Marlins Park of all places. I guess it was cool on paper, like downtown Miami in the middle of winter. But it was an absolute disaster, in my opinion. It looked awful on TV.
It was Miami shit. You
opened up the roof. No fans on the glass.
No fans on the glass. You have the roof open. Why? It's not cold enough. And that day it was like 55, 60 degrees. Still not cold enough for that ice to be maintained. Like, come on. You could have put that together a little bit better, And I think that has something to do with the shitty play from the Panthers because I know that Bob, he mentioned something to the reporters after the game, like some of the glare was too much because of like all the lights and stuff like that. The ice wasn't complete solid, right? So it was shiny, it was a little bit more watery. Yeah, not good. Not a good look.
Not great.
Got your ass kicked and it looked a little weird on TV. Whatever.
Time.
You have a fucking like a performance in between periods. Like, come on, dude. This isn't like, I get it, you got to make it a spectacle, whatever, but.
That was awful. That was so
awful.
cringe to have Kachuk and these guys come out with the trophy and shit. Like, what are we doing right now?
Why?
This isn't like that kind of game.
This is not that.
Yeah, dog, yeah.
They messed that up. They messed that up. But thankfully, you know what I mean? Like, the Panthers bounced back after that. They're treading water. They have good news on the horizon, and more importantly, they stuck it out. You know what I mean? You and I both know that this season wasn't going to be a pretty season. It was going to be a really rough season. There were going to be injuries. We didn't have a clue who else was going to get injured, right? But we seen a bunch of dudes go down, but thankfully they're all back and or are coming back, right? Which is perfect, right? Because then that means that you get the All-Star break in a couple of weeks. Same thing, right? Right in the middle of February. You get that. Get guys back to skate with the team, a little bit healthier, and then you start to make a second push for the season. And then all you really need to do is be hot. And you and I both know this. The best way for the Panthers to have success is to not be the number 1 seed.
That's
Any
one.
seed, but the number one seed works for the Panthers.
That's one way, but we also to the task we're going for. So the 3-peat. It's not an easy one. Like
No.
everybody wants to get their own. It's not even a matter of like let's stop the Panthers. Like no, like I wanna hold that trophy.
Right.
Right. And
Everybody.
everybody's desire is that much stronger than after you winning it 2 years in a row. You know what I mean? You get a little bit more complacent. That's always a concern. And even more so, like, you know, if you don't have all the guys that helped you win the first two, like we need everybody to be back healthy, and then we'll have a shot, man.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you know, we need the whole kit and caboodle, dog. We can't.
100%.
We need Barkov. We need Kachuk. Like we need everybody. You know, all hands on deck to be able to try to bring this shit home a third time.
Especially for what we're trying to accomplish, like you said, right? We're trying to complete one of the most difficult things in sports, a three-peat, regardless of the sports. Really tough to do, dog. To win 3 championships in a row.
Yeah.
That means that you're carrying a target on your back for 2.5 seasons straight. That's a heavy toll to carry. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Especially dealing with injuries, age, players leaving, players coming. It's tough. It's tough. And just like this road fucking trip. Toronto on Tuesday, Montreal Thursday, Saturday at Ottawa, Monday Buffalo, Friday you get a couple of days in between there. You're at Carolina, Saturday Washington, home Monday for 1 day, and then boom, back on the road Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday.
That's a tough schedule.
Tough. And it happens again. They come back home for 1 game and go back on the road, and then they have 3 straight games at home.
Damn.
Tough month. But if there's one team designed for this, it's the Panthers.
Yeah.
It really is, dog. Like I know it sounds like we're talking shit, but realistically, there's enough depth on this team. There's enough stars. There's enough awesome players, enough captains, enough role players that this team has gotten to this point. Again, if you look at their record, and you tell me the Panthers have won 20 games and have only lost 8 games with all the injuries, no start player, your goalie misses a bunch of games. This happens. Marchand's friend dies throughout the season. You lose him for a week. Yeah, bro. This is just fine. This is like swimming in the ocean for the fucking Panthers.
Yeah,
They're
it
gonna
could be a lot
fine.
worse, is what you're saying.
It'll be a lot worse. And this road trip, I think that's where we're gonna see the switch completely flip. These guys are gonna go 4-6. I got a feeling. Why? Bet the Panthers heavy on this road trip. I got a real strong feeling. Bet the Panthers heavy.
All right.
But yeah, man. I think that's enough sports for this week, right? For this episode.
I think we covered it all.
Yeah. The only thing that we have to mention is Jake Paul got knocked out by Anthony Joshua, which was kind of expected. He ran into a brick wall, and it took a lot longer than I expected. So
yeah,
good on Jake for making the money, dog. A broken jaw to make X amount of $100 million. Yeah, Playboy.
You do the math, bro.
Yeah, get that cash.
I might sign up for that.
Yeah, get that cash. But for regular Joes like you and I and Joel right here, we're going to keep telling you guys to tell a friend.
To tell a friend.
To tell another friend.
To tell everybody they know.
To tell everybody they know about this amazing podcast, bringing it to you here from Miami every single time that we can. It's your boy So for Joel. Until next time, peace.